Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. Okay, it's another bonus episode. It's one of your favorites. My best friend Sonya King is here. Let me see if I have some announcements. So the regular Friday podcasts have already been pre-taped, so those are just going to be regular paranormal stuff. And then these bonus episodes, some of them have to do with Corona, some of them just have to do with stuff. And also, folks, remember my tarot class is up with a special $50 off if you use coupon code Paranormal Karen, all capitals. Go to my website, karenrontowski.com, and click on course, and then use your code Paranormal Karen, or email me if you have any questions. Also, I still have my reusable straws and my Shungite stickers. If you want a Paranormal Karen sticker, it's $10. It goes in your phone, and it keeps you from radiation off your phone. But let's get to it. Sonya, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
So,
yes.
So now you're going to be on a regular episode that is not a coronavirus episode, but you had so many interesting things to talk about with the animals. So we're going to talk a little corona, just a little stuff, just a little how you're doing, perhaps the technology we don't like. How have you been?
Fine. Everything is good. But you know what? The good that used to be is not the good that is now, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm feeling weird. And today is the first day where, and I don't ever feel hopeless. But today was the day I have to make my mask today because we're supposed to all be wearing masks now. And I kind of have one, but it just made me sad because I think I really understand the change that has taken place.
It can hit you really hard. You know, there's so many things that we take for granted and so many things that we're not doing now, you know, as individuals and as society. It's not happening, and it just feels like, well, it's a difficult thing. Like, what do we do with ourselves? What do we do with this energy? What do we do with, how can we be productive when we feel kind of like nothing is what we know?
Right. And it also is like, it's almost like I was talking to a couple of my comic friends yesterday, and I was like, are we going to have comedy after this? Will it not look like this? Will people not be out? Will it, we're doing virtual shows online, and that's fine, but it's not the same. And now, I don't think masks are going to go away. I think we're going to need them for a while, or we're at least going to always have to have them with us, which is just weird. And I know I watched the Pele report. He's my favorite, and he's just telling people to get out of the city.
The animals are telling me that too. Not in that exact way. And they're stressing the importance of not standing on pavement, not standing on the concrete, but where you can find the actual earth to stand on.
So so when you talk to animals, they're telling us to ground?
Yes. Yeah. But they want us, it's so beneficial to be standing in grass or in nature, instead of just on sidewalks or, whether it's concrete or macadam. It's just, yes, if there's a chance for us to have our feet on the actual earth, that's best.
Now, that's interesting because I think I told you this. I'm taking a class to become an herbalist, but all of a sudden I started planting plants in my apartment, which I know that's instinctively plants and shungite, people know I'm shungite crazy, work against 5G. They block or absorb or something. There's something about being that gets rid of the 5G. Now, all this coronavirus stuff, I had called you about courage, as I do almost every day. to ask you if he's all right. Folks, I cannot tell you, when you love your animal, having a animal communicator as a best friend is like the greatest thing ever. um, and he's fine now, but you said the animals were telling you about this before we were. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, about the sensation that's happening. This the way that the people are experiencing the COVID-19. Is that what you're asking about, or the shungite?
The way we'll get to the shungite after. Yeah, the way animals, or what they were telling you about how people are experiencing this.
Yes, right. So before I had ever heard about COVID-19, before that was even something that we were talking about, the animals were showing me that there had been a change. And what it felt like was an animal were showing this by, getting very sick with very odd experiences. So animals pass, it's just part of life. They pass, they get sick. That's part of life as well. So these things that were a very healthy dog would start throwing up blood, would start, blood would come out of their rear ends, it's just a lot of it. They were passing clots, aneurysms. They would have strokes. It was just, the numbers were in large quantities, and it seemed different than normal ailments. So what they showed me, and my guy's name is Einstein. One of my dogs is named Einstein, right? And he's awesome. He's an amazing little dude. Like, he's a 13-pound little white fluffy fur ball.
He's a Bichon. You have two Bichons that are brothers that you rescued because somebody left them in a box on the side of the road, and they're wonderful, and they're very sensitive. They
are. They're extremely sensitive.
Because they came from a puppy mill, right? And so they have health issues.
Yeah, they do. They have and some immune issues, and so they take things very, very difficult. So we try to do the holistic treatments with them. What Einstein showed me, so please keep in mind that when Einstein shows me this stuff, he comes to me like on this brilliant level. Like, so he's like, his name is fitting. He comes to me on this brilliant level, and he shares stuff with me, and I'm just like, okay.
Can you dumb that down?
Yeah, dumb it down, dude. So this is the dumbed down version, all right?
Okay.
So, interesting enough, what is being explained to me is that this virus is not something that is necessarily coming outside of us. It's coming from they showed me this like visual of like a cell. So if you like picture like a water droplet, let's just say like it's a water droplet, and it's getting, the pressure is coming down on it, and it's getting, squished. And as it's getting squished, because it's feeling so much pressure, and then as if it like lets a little droplet out and away.
Like a droplet that forms and it gets heavy on the bottom and then it goes plunk.
Yes, exactly. And so it's still there. That initial droplet is still there, but now it's releasing little minute droplets.
Okay.
And so he shows me that, and what he's talking about is just that this pressure that we're feeling environmentally, energetically, it's so much pressure that then this is happening. It's morphing into something, and that this is kind of like a chain of events that are taking place. And then there's an illness. There's a new illness, and it's created within our bodies. And then this is happening to everybody. It's happening to animals. It's happening to humans. As this happens, everybody's getting sick.
See,
they don't tell me that it's contagious, but I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear about this. I'm by no means suggesting that this is not contagious because people are kind of, saying that it is. The experts, I think everybody should listen to the experts.
And I don't, and I don't want to surprise anyone, but we are not doctors. We are not medical professionals. We are giving you our impressions. That's my disclosure statement.
Yeah. Yes. So, along with that, then, this pressure that we're experiencing, so I'll just say that it's energetic pressure, right? And it's like a vice, if you just picture that, squeezing. And another thing that they showed me about that when that's happening is that if you go out, and how this is connected to going out into the nature, is that the energy can be transmuted through the earth. Right. So, and what they show me is that you ever see one of those, they're called plasma balls, where, it's the thing that has the electricity in it, and if you touch the ball, it follows your fingers.
Yeah. It looks like you get zapped like an old Frankenstein movie.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so it's kind of like that. And this is beyond what I would have understood without their help, is that what they do for us, what the animals do for us, is they take our energies, our negative energies, and they transmute them so that when which is so important to take your animals out for a walk, let them outside in a safe way. Because what they do is they take on our negative energies, and when they go out and they are on the walking around, especially on the grass or out in nature, they're able to transmute that energy, send it down into the earth where it's transformed. But that's their way of taking and helping us to heal, and then allowing them to not hold on to that, less than ideal energy.
Right. So they're kind of protecting us. They're taking the hit for us.
Yeah, but I forgot to tell you that what they showed me is that when they're walking, so the reason I brought up that plasma ball is because they showed me, like, when we're walking on the earth, that's happening.
Oh, wow. So they're zapping, and that zap didn't happen before? Now it's kind of zapping?
I've never seen it before. They never showed me that before, no.
Wow. Okay.
Ever. They did show me the importance of going outside before, of being able to, for the humans and the animals to be able to go out and, release that into the earth. But no, they never showed me this kind of electric, I guess that you said zapping. I guess it would be, they don't feel it like a zapping, just like you don't feel it when you put your finger around that plasma ball. But that's what they're showing me that it's happening. Everything is electrified right now. Everything.
So do they feel the electricity coming to them or getting rid of it? Because I was thinking the other visual for my Reiki masters out there would be the symbol of Raku. Like, are they putting it into the ground, or they're feeling it come up at them?
Yeah, no, when they take on the energy of their humans, the negative energy, when they go out and have that opportunity, they send it down into the earth. So they're holding it, and then they send it out. Now, for people and animals, the reason people get sick is stuck energy. Right? If something's not flowing, that's creating an ailment. And whether it's on the physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual body, that's what causes an ailment, is the stuck energy. So that's the way that they go, and they transmute that into the earth so that they don't have to hold on to it. Right. But animals do this for their people all the time. So animals are with their humans, first and foremost, the reason that they're here to begin with anyway is to help the humans move forward. To help to heal us and to help us move forward.
that brings up an interesting point of out here, especially in LA, well, everywhere, pit bulls kind of have a bad name, even though it's not the dog. But what happens out here is a lot of drug dealers or people that are doing illegal stuff tend to get those pit bulls, and they want them for protection, but they also sort of want them to be the first to attack. They want them to be aggressive. And if they're carrying the energy of their owner who is already aggressive, that would probably explain why they get that way.
Well, what's funny is that, do you ever see those cartoons or those books, whatever, that compare, like, they say, like, well, if people look like their dogs, or, dogs look like their people.
Yep.
Right? Well, it's the same thing with the behaviors, So, yeah. So if you're absolutely right on that. They mirror their people.
Right. So now, and this is what I feel like you're tapping on, sort of what I feel like, and I apologize if I've repeated this, people. Hopefully I'm going to get this lady on named Susan Marie, who had the strangest incident when she had COVID-19 and she was very ill and she sort of took on the ship. But this all goes with what I think, which is I don't think 5G caused the virus. I think 5G is weakening our system so we can't fight a virus, which if we didn't have that would be no problem, would be a cold, would be not, you know what I mean? Like not a big deal. And so the animals showing the earth, I mean, that's what that doctor said. The first city to have complete 5G was Wuhan. And also, I don't know if it'd be interesting to see if in the places, like maybe in the jungle or people that are on an island that don't have 5G, it would be interesting to see how their levels of this virus are, because we have changed the world. The whole world EMF has changed. So that's the animals feeling it. So they think what I think, which is it's something within us that we can't fight, that is like a normal thing. Like if you have cancer in you, but you have to wait for it to grow. Is that what they're saying? Like,
I didn't ask. That's a really good way to put that. I didn't ask them that specifically, but yes, it feels like, and I don't know. Yes, I don't know how to say it other than they said that this is something from within. So, in other words, something has been ignited, something has been created that wasn't there. So it goes along, exactly with what you just said, although I didn't ask them in that way. It sounds exactly what you're describing. But I want to say something about the locations, the animals that are out in the wild. So animals that are in our home and our companion animals, they are, they're kind of assignment. If you think about them having a job, their assignment is to help us individually to move through. So even if you have one dog and you have, more than one human, that, or I should say, or cat or pig, whatever, turtle, their purpose is going to be different for each human because the humans have different needs. They're at different locations in their journey, so they don't need the same thing often. But the animals in the wild, they often work to raise the collective consciousness. So just because they're in the wild doesn't mean that they're not affecting us. They're doing this on our behalf, whether they're in our homes or not. So you see animals, a squirrel, a bird, whatever it is, they're still making an impact for us. They're still working hard to shift the energies and to help to move us forward, regardless, wild or domesticated.
So when you saw the fires, and we had all these fires in California, the animals that were running, you actually had a vision of them.
Yes. And so it's a very, very hard thing for people and to see that animals are hurt, to see that animals are in pain. And we do see those things. We did see those things in the fire. It would come across the TV, and it was shocking, and it was sad. And we just felt for them. And what they showed me is that it was they showed me a visual of them like at about 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and kind of running kind of away from, so our perception is that what we see in the physical form, right?
Uh-huh.
So we see this situation, we see this physical body, their physical bodies going through what they're going through, and it's so painful. And what they showed me is that they have an opportunity to escape that body and not have to experience all that they would have to down there on the ground, running from the fires, that they can actually remove themselves. And everybody can do this. People can do it. Animals can do it. But they are very, very good at it. Well, but in that during that particular time when the fires were happening, that's what they showed me, is that, yes, we're moving forward and we can do this. It's like elevated, so they're not experiencing it the way that we see that they're experiencing it.
They're a little between dimensions. There's a card that is the 7 of Wands, which is the seventh sense, which is being able to leave your body at will. And it's very interesting. And also, you can learn more if you take my tarot class at karenrontowski.com. But it is very interesting because that particular.
Well, let me just say before we go on, you sent that class to me, Karen. It's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
It is phenomenal. I just love it. It's so easy to. You're funny, interesting. It's just.
Well, thank you. It's a funny ad in there, but I think it's funny. It's funny that's not a. You don't always hear about that. I know that's astro projection, but it's sort of the one of things that, and maybe it has a little to do with remote viewing and stuff, which I'm trying to get a remote viewer on to explain that. But I find that very interesting. When you told me that about the animals, I thought that right away. Now, when I learned about shungite, which everyone, if you're buying your shungite, get it at mysticalwares.net. And the only reason I say that is because some of my friends were like, yeah, I got it at Amazon. No offense to Amazon, but I've ordered stuff from Amazon that came and it was glass. So go to mysticalwares.net. Derek is my guy. You actually can use Paranormal Karen code, also get 10% off. But I immediately got a little shungite bead for courage, and I put it on his collar. And I asked you if there was any difference, and he said he could breathe better. And I asked you just before this call to check in and see if he had anything else to say about the shungite.
Yes. So I have 2 things to say about that. One is the reason that it's important that you get it from one place versus another is because the people that the process, and I don't care if it's the food that you eat, the water that you drink, the shungite that you buy, energy comes with the things that we bring to us, right? The other people's energy, the process that something goes through, so that it really does truly make a difference. The quality, of course, but the handling of that. So if somebody, so for example, if somebody's cooking your dinner and they're angry, like I have been the last few days because I'm tired of feeding everyone. Then that energy, it goes into the food, and then people ingest that food, and then they've got that energy, that they've got to deal with. They wake up and they go, "Why am I so mad today?" Because Mom fed us last night.
my grandma fed us angry rice. We
That's
had
right.
angry rice with a little basil on it. It's funny.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like I'm continually doing an ad for Derek's store, Mystical Wares, but I'm so sold on him and his stuff. And I'm going to tell you this, people. He's doing free classes on his group site, Mystical Wares Group on Facebook. And one of the things he said, Sonia, and we know this, but we didn't know this. Like, we do Reiki and we talk about this stuff all the time, but he was saying, hold your food and just say, I love you, or hold your water and say, I love you. And what that does, it attunes it to your vibration.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that you can do that with everything. I think,
right. Your clothes, yeah.
Right.
Your
right.
jewelry.
And it's just that, you know what? It also puts you in a mind frame of gratitude.
Yeah.
And when you're in the mindset of gratitude, then things can have the potential to shift.
Yes, and
in a positive way.
And it also, that gratitude is, if you can't do gratitude, do creation. That was my meditation today, and I was like, I was very down, and then I did my meditation, and I went to my place, and I spoke to my aliens or whatever, and they said, you got to create. That's it. Just create. If you can't, you're not, don't feel bad about the mask. You're creating something wonderful, whether you like it or not. And back to the disease for a second. And then, it's funny that the animals got sick, because I told you this, this was maybe 2-3 months ago. I got a massage. Someone bought me a massage. It was the best massage I ever had. And I thought that the massage made me sick because they release all the toxins into your system. But I called you the next day and I was like, I have not thrown up in 20 years. And the night before, I think Jess and I were talking about, she had experiences like this too. I had not thrown up. I don't throw up. And that night I threw up so much that it was like, when I've done ayahuasca, I never got sick. But the idea I always think of throwing up on ayahuasca is that it takes your negative energy and it puts it into a physical form so you can get it out of your body. And that happened one night before all this corona stuff happened. And I also feel like I've heard this from several different sources that corona is actually here to change our DNA. So it may be a disease that is trying to change our DNA from within so that we can live in this world of 5G and new electronic crazy stuff, which would also understand why it's not a lot of kids getting it. Although some are.
Right, because, yes, some are.
Also, this is my last thing, and then I'll finally let you answer the question I asked 5 times and then talked over you. This is how our whole friendship is. It's I call her and ask her something, and then I don't ever stop talking. So
Kurt just flashing his watch.
I know.
Come on.
And now I forgot what I was going to say. When all this started, first of all, I was in Vegas, which I talked to somebody from Vegas. They said all the hotels are empty and boarded up. I can't even imagine. I just want to drive through. I was in Vegas when this started in the petri dish of viruses. Then I went to Washington just before it was shut down. And then I flew to New York, and then I flew home. So maybe I am one of those carriers or something, but I'm not saying I'm immune to it, but it seems like if I was going to get it, I was in it then.
Yes, I remember. Yes, and we were talking about that. Like, why do you feel compelled to go to these places that are exploding with the virus?
I know. I was drawn to all of them. It's like when I leave a place, it closes down. So I'm on my way to the White House. No. So, all right. So courage. So you asked Courage about the shungite, which I will absolutely say, since it's been in his water, we've had quite a few things going on with him and water and kidneys, and he is suddenly very healthy, like he's getting younger. I told you that I came in the other day. In 20 years, and in 10 years, he hasn't gone through tissues in the bathroom. And I called you and I was like, he's turning over wastebaskets and eating tissues like a puppy. And then he was in the bathroom. I left for an hour. He got into my coconut oil that was spread all over the floor. All of a sudden, like all these things that younger dogs do, he was feeling better and he started it all. So his shungite is in his water and the little one on his clip. So I'm going to shut up now. What did he tell you about it?
Well, it sounds like he's stir crazy.
Well, he's getting plenty of walks.
Oh man. So you asked me about that before, and he did say that he was breathing better. So when he asked me today about it, he said that he used to have like a film of crud on him, and the bead helps him feel cleaner and clearer.
Oh, wow.
So it just kind of helps, just this film that he's describing, and it just kind of loosens it up, and, it's like the visual I get, like it loosens up and, falls away.
I'm glad that makes him feel better because he's getting a bath in an hour, which will make him furious. But there literally is a film of dirt on him right now. And you know how mad he'll be about that.
Yes.
So for him, that film is like the pressure you're talking about.
Yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And the shungite really does help just the flow within his system, within his body. Everything seems to be moving easier. It's like if you can, like an analogy would be like an engine that has old oil in it, and then that's cleared out, and it's like sludge. It's like heavy, and movement is not real comfortable and smooth. Then you put in the new oil, and man, it just starts moving. Things start moving, working together again, and it sounds better. It's functioning better, and so I just feel like that's what he's talking about when you put that bead on him. It was that drastic.
Wow. And
since then, like I have a water right now. I have the shungite in my water all the time now because of the boss. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it helps you feel that much better. He's like, yep. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm sold.
That's right. And you know what's funny? I actually need to fix something because he has a lot of coughing at night when he sleeps. And I forgot, I take off his collar. So I have to find a way to get that on him for when he sleeps. I try to give him a break from his harness. Or, our whole bed is painted with shungite powder on the corners. So maybe it's okay. Wow. Oh, well, Sonya.
Like you're a mad scientist.
I know. Well, you know what's funny? Now I'm going to take this herbalism class, but I always had this vision of myself and I thought it was a past life. And I think I'm becoming this. And it was me as an old woman, all white hair, which means year or two from now, old woman. And I lived sort of in this cabin off in the woods, and I'm the lady that everyone thinks is the neighborhood witch. And they come to me, right? And nobody's supposed to know that they came to me, but they want my herbs or whatever. I think that's where we're going. I think I'm turning into that. I thought it was the past. Maybe it's the future. And I'm the old lady. But here's the thing. Still hold on to my figure. Still looking good. Even as the old witch with all these dogs. So, all right. So this is great. And everybody, two things. Sonya's going to be on another episode in May. That isn't a Corona episode. That is about animal communication and talking to your animal, what you need to know. But I cannot tell you the relief, the knowledge, what you will get out if you book a reading with her about your pet, whether they have passed or whether they're here. So, Sonya, tell everybody how they can book a reading with you.
The easiest way is to go to my website. It's sonyaking.com. So it's SONYAKING. And there's a part at the top, and it'll just say "Talk to the Animals." The website itself, so I do speaking and stand up, and I do a weekly podcast with my son. It's called Josh Has Autism.
Yes, and the blogs,
all
great.
of that. Yes, and all of that's on there too. But there is a link there that says "Talk to the Animals," and you can go and follow that and book a session with me that way. That's the easiest way.
And also, this week's episode, you get angry in it. And here's the thing. That laugh, that's Sonya angry. It looks exactly like Sonya not angry. Because she's so mellow. Like you're a Libra. You're that like calm Libra. And then you'll be like, I think that person is a JERK. Is that too angry for people, do you think? And I'm like, have you ever seen me on Facebook go after someone? So check out the angry episode.
That is funny. I'm trying to let loose. You're trying to hold back.
That's why we're besties. So
That's
yes,
right.
and yes, and check out Josh Has Autism. It's fantastic. Check out the blog and book yourself a reading. We all have a lot of time, and I can't tell you if you know. Sometimes the animals are sick. Sometimes they just want to give you a message, right? Sometimes you just want to talk to them, right?
Yeah, you know, and so what people need to know too is that the animals are there for their people. So ultimately, it's going to come back, and we're going to have conversations that maybe you didn't expect that we're going to have. But the animals are so smart and share amazing messages and guidance and direction, and they are not all bossy like the boss. They all have distinctive personalities, and they come through, and they are just amazing. And yes, they're here for us. And when I talk to animals, that's really what does come out. We take care of whatever they're dealing with, whether they're not feeling well or particular questions that their humans have. But most of the time, I would say it goes in a direction that is really helpful for the people.
And they don't embarrass you.
Never. They don't. No, they don't share this. You have stuff you don't want me to know. They're not going to say it.
Well, the boss will embarrass me.
Well, and then he laughs.
He laughs and laughs and laughs. You know that little look I get when I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, he laughs and laughs in between glares.
Yes, he does glare. If you go on my Instagram, folks, you can see a little thing where he wanted to get in through the fence and I wouldn't open the door. And he just paces back and forth. And then I go, so you want to go in? And he just gives me this glare and then goes back to pacing. Oh my God. So, all right, folks. Well, Sonya, thanks for doing this bonus episode. I hope it makes everybody's day a little better, and I hope you feel a little better about the virus and everything. So, SonyaKing.com, talk to the animals.
Oh, thanks so much, Rontowski.
All right.
This was awesome.
All right, my friend. All right, folks. Special thanks to Mike Flynn at Uno Rising Media for taking care of all this for me. Everybody out there, stay safe, stay well, get yourself some shungite, and we'll talk to you next week or whenever. The bonus episodes are coming up all the time.